What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going through some of the Okuma gear that they have sent me throughout the last year. Okuma has been a sponsor of the channel now for 2 years. Very grateful for them. They have sent me some awesome gear. And so we're going to get started with the Guide Select series rods. This specific one is going to be the Guide Select swim base series. I love this thing. This thing can withstand 1 to 6 ounces. It's 7-11 heavy action. I also have a 7-11 extra heavy action for just those little bit heavier baits. This specific one is 15 to 30 pound test you should be using on it. I have yet to catch a fish on it, but it casts beautifully. I love how it has a super long buzz so that if you do get a big bite, you can really lock that in there and swing and get those hooks to penetrate through the bass's mouth. It is freaking wicked. I want to take this thing and go catch some muskie or go catch some pike on this thing. I think it would be a totally different style video, and I just think it'd be fun in general. But this thing's got a great tip on it. You can whip those baits out there an absolute mile. And every bait that I fish on it so far, whether it's a Fish Lab Glide or a Gangcraft or a Huddleston, it has handled it beautifully. And I did have a little bit of a test on it because a couple months ago, I actually swung on what I thought was a fish, but it was actually the top of a tree limb, and when I swung on it, the whole rod just bent. And I was a little bit worried at first because I thought like I swung super hard, and you know, sometimes when you have that direct tension, you know, sometimes a rod snaps. But this rod held it down beautifully, and it was phenomenal, and it was great to know that I can have the confidence to really swing hard and get those hook sets. So a phenomenal rod, the Guide Select swim bait series by Okuma. Also, we have the Guide Select series when it comes to a crankbait. We got the Citrix reel on here, which I believe is a 6:3 gear ratio reel, which is phenomenal for me because I'm a very fast fisherman. I typically fish 7:2 to like 8:1 gear ratio. So for me, I need a slower reel to force myself to slow down. So to have that slower gear ratio to help me out, to actually slow me down, it has allowed me to catch extra fish. I got that Berkeley dredger on there, and this Guide Select cranking rod is absolutely phenomenal. First cranking rod I have ever owned. I never really thought that it would make that big of a difference, but I'll tell you what, being able to feel those bites down there, it is night and day with a legitimate cranking rod. So very grateful for this rod. It's an absolutely phenomenal rod, and man, I have set the hook on some pretty nice bass. 3-4 pounders on here, and it's handled it beautifully. I'm waiting to hook up with a nice like 6 to 7 pounder and see how it can hold up with that. But that is the Guide Select series. Like I said, I also have another swim bait rod, which is an extra heavy 7-11. I believe that one can withstand 1 to 8 ounces, if I remember correctly. So just a little bit sturdier than the first one that I just showed you guys. But the next rod is probably my favorite series that Okuma sells currently, and that is the Psycho Stick. The Psycho Stick is an absolute wicked series. I love this thing. This is a 7.2 medium light action rod. Love how it looks. You got that carbon fiber look. You got great guides right there. Super sturdy. They don't break. They don't bend out or anything like that. It's got a great tip on it, and this rod is so sensitive. There's times where I'll fish with a Saros rod, and the Saros rods are super sensitive, but it's night and day compared to the Psycho Stick. The Psycho Stick, I mean, you can literally feel the most subtle bites, whether you're fishing the canal, creek, river, lake, etc. I love this rod. It's phenomenal. And the reel of choice that we have on this is the Helios SX series reel. I love this reel. It is freaking durable as all heck. You can tell it's built well. It's nice and heavy. It's not plasticky. It's made out of metal, all aluminum, and I believe it's an 8-to-1 ball bearing system, so it's super smooth, has a great drag on it. Currently the line that I have on this bad boy is soft steel line, 10-pound braid, and typically I have 10-pound braid to 8-pound fluorocarbon, but currently, as you can tell, on the spinning setup I was throwing a little frog, so I just got straight braid on there currently. But this Psycho Stick, when it comes to the rod, is absolutely phenomenal, and you got a workhorse of a reel in that Helios SX series reel. We also have the Baitcaster version in the Psycho Stick. I love this thing. 7.2 medium heavy rod. Like I said, same details as the last one. Great tip, great guides, has a great backbone. I've hooked a couple 5-pounders on this thing, and I've been able to boat flip them and super comfortable with it. Never had to worry about the rod snapping or anything weird like that. But I think the rod looks sick, super smooth, really well balanced, fishes beautifully. So check out the Psycho Stick series. They are a little pricey. I believe they're about like $240, but they're feather light. They're absolutely phenomenal. And when you fish with them, you'll see how sensitive they are, and you won't look back. They're phenomenal rods. Moving on to A little bit lighter action, a little bit cheaper rod and reel, but this combo together is about $200, and this is a medium action Toronto combo. I love this thing. I think it looks wicked. It's a great urban setup. This thing I will take, fish small Texas rigs, Ned rigs, Senkos, small frogs, buzzbaits, etc. It's a phenomenal urban setup. It's a wicked combo for rivers, creeks, etc. It's super light, super well balanced for just a $200 combo, super sensitive. We have 10-pound soft steel fluorocarbon on here currently, and we have a little 3/8 ounce spinnerbait on there. The only thing I will say is, because we're in Arizona, this is the only thing that I have to say about this reel. Because we're in Arizona, it is extremely dry heat. It's like 110, 120 degrees in the middle of the day. And because of that, on the handles right here, if you live in a very dry and hot kind of climate, the reel right here, because it's such a hot and dry climate, you can see right here, you can see where that little thread right there is kind of separating. And that typically only happens in super hot and dry climates. If it's hot and kind of humid, I think it's just the material. I think it's the material of the handle, but you want to keep this out of the sun. Obviously, if you're out at the lake, you're good for the day, but don't leave it in the sun. I made that mistake and it just came right off. So what I noticed, it's purely the heat. The heat makes this handle essentially kind of fall apart, because like I said, it is 120 degrees, super dry and whatnot. If you take this thing out to the lake, you're good for the day, just don't leave it out in the sun. I made that mistake. I don't think that this is a defect from Okuma. I think it's purely just because it is so freaking hot out here in Arizona, and it's so dry. We have no humidity to hold this little like padding, because this thing feels like it would suck up moisture pretty good, and that's what holds that seal together. But because it's dry heat, it just essentially dries out this this material, and it just allows it to separate. That's the only thing about this reel that I have any sort of complaint about. But the reel itself is sturdy. You can grind the living heck out of it, and it is a badass reel. It fishes really well. But if you're in Arizona, just keep an eye on that. Just keep that in the back of your mind, and make sure once you're done fishing, you bring it right back into your house or your garage or whatever. Make sure it's in shade, and you'll have no issues with it. Just don't leave it out in the sun. Now, most of you guys have seen me fish with this thing a gazillion times. This reel is absolutely phenomenal. This is an $80 reel, guys. The Samar ODT bait casting reel. That tactical green is absolutely wicked looking. An $80 reel, and I have been able to pull up 3, 4, 5, 6 pounders on this thing. The biggest bass that I pulled up on this thing is actually a 6'3", which was 0.1 shy of my urban PB. I keep those things separated because I don't think that it's fair to have an urban bass as your PB. I just think that's a weird thing, so I separate those. But point is, phenomenal reel. It can handle some big fish, and it's only $80, and we have it paired up on the 7-foot medium action Okuma Saros rod. This rod is absolutely phenomenal. I have a boatload of these between spinning and also bait casting. They're phenomenal rods. They're like $99. I believe the spinning might be $89 if I remember correctly, but these are absolutely wicked setups. So just for under $200, you can have a wicked little setup like this, and it is gonna crank you some fish. Guaranteed, without a doubt. I got a 12-pound soft steel fluorocarbon on this bad boy right here, and we were throwing that little G-rack glide back there on this thing, and we handled the fish just fine without any issues. And the canal systems and everywhere where I fish, it's super steep, so it's got great backbone to be able to pull those fish up, and it's only a medium action, but yet it's got a phenomenal tip on it for you to be able to feel those bites. If you are throwing a jerkbait or a spinnerbait or a lipless crank or anything like that, you can really get that nice parabolic motion to get those nice hook sets and pull your fish up. And this right here, again, the Saros rod, but this is gonna be a medium action 7-foot spinning rod, and we got it paired up on the brand new Samar 2500 A series reel. This A series is going to be released out at ICAST this year. So if you guys are going to ICAST, check this reel out. Go by the Okuma booth. This reel is absolutely phenomenal. I don't know what the price point's going to be at, but I have caught some really nice fish on it. Nice 2.5 pounders and whatnot so far on it. I currently have 6-pound soft steel fluorocarbon on here, and man, it's so smooth. It is such a smooth, sturdy reel. It's got a great drag on it, and let me just show you guys that. That is exactly what I'm catching all the fish on right now, is this little 3-inch fluke on a little 1/8 ounce ball head jig head. Freaking fun little setup. You can go out there, whack bass in canals, ponds, creeks, lakes, rivers, etc. Wherever you want to fish. You can even fish this thing in the surf, I believe, and catch those corbina, catch some perch, spotfin croaker, yellowfin croaker, you know, wherever you're at, you can catch fish on this setup, and it's super fun because it's light action. You're gonna have a ball with the fish. But like I said, check out this reel if you're going to iCast. It is a freaking sick little reel. And switching it up here, guys, so a lot of people who watch the channel, you guys know I fish ultralight a decent amount of time because you just get those finicky bass to hit. You'll catch crappies, bluegills, red ear, trout. You'll catch so many fish on ultralight gear, and everybody that I fish with, they all laugh at me because they're all like, ah man, you fish for yellow bass, you fish for crappies, and they pretty much all fish for largemouth and smallmouth. And I mean, I'm a guy that I'll go out there, I'll fish saltwater, I'll fish trout, I'll fish creeks, rivers, I don't care. I go out there, have fun, catch a couple fish, and just have a ball. That's what fishing's all about, in my opinion. But we got the Samar C20 size reel right there. Wicked little reel. This reel, I believe, is $49.99. So $50 reel, super smooth. I love this reel. I actually have the C30 and the C40 size. So a little bit bigger. Works phenomenal for drop shot, but this one I have it paired up on the SST trout rod by Okuma. This thing is absolutely wicked. This is an ultralight setup. I love it, and the great thing is that you can travel with it beautifully because it's a two-piece. You can break it apart, and if you don't have a whole lot of room, if you're going up north or if you live near a river or whatever and you just want to pack super light, break that rod in half, put it in your bag, and you are good to go. You're gonna go out there, you're gonna whack some smallmouth, you're gonna go whack some trout, you're gonna whack some rock bass, whatever you're fishing for. This is a wicked setup. It's got crazy bend, but it is super sturdy. I have actually pulled 3.5 pound bass out of the canals on this rod right here. The whole rod was bent over. I was losing my mind. I thought I was gonna lose a fish, or I thought the rod was gonna snap. And it had just barely enough backbone to be able to tire that fish out and get that fish up onto the bank. So really, really fun way to fish. Ultralight fishing, you cannot go wrong with it. Got great parabolic motion, so for all those panfish, you're gonna get a lot of hook sets because it's got a lot of room to be able to set that hook, as you can tell. So check out the SST Trout series. This is just a quick review of some of the Okuma stuff. I have a boatload more stuff right over here to the right side of me. We have one last thing that I'm going to show you guys, and this reel was a limited edition reel by Okuma. Totally cool. It's a sick reel. It's got a power handle. So let me set this bad boy down and let's go get that reel. So with me, I am completely surprised that I have not pulled this bad boy out yet. But I want to use this thing in the surf, try to catch some corbinas, some perch, maybe a spotfin croaker, catch some calico bass on this thing, and that is the limited edition GT series reel. It is freaking sick. That orange and black contrast, it just looks so freaking good together. I think this would be even a really good like popper kind of reel, and if you get a big bass, just blow up on a popper. I mean, you got that big old power handle to really crank on those fish and make sure that your hand essentially doesn't slip off that handle, and you know, maybe a little bit of slack line pops in and you lose the fish. So wicked reel right here. I love how it looks. It's so sick. This is, like I said, the limited edition GT reel by Okuma. Freaking absolutely insane. It's almost like a competitor to what Luz is trying to do, in my opinion, but this thing is sturdy. I mean, this thing, it feels like a softball. I feel like I could throw it on the ground and it would just be just fine, and I just keep fishing with it. No issues whatsoever. It is built really sturdy. It is a great reel. Like I said, I haven't fished with it yet, but I've tested it out, thrown it around a little bit, made a few casts with it and whatnot. I just haven't designated a whole trip to fishing with it yet. And from the cast, the line comes off the spool beautifully, and so far so good. Not a bad reel, and not a bad looking reel at that either. So this is going to be a very fun one to fish with. Maybe we'll do a video really soon about this bad boy, and should be fun. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know these videos are a little bit tough to watch because, you know, it's like there's no action. There's no fish action. There's nothing going on. It's just talking. But I just wanted to review and give thanks to Okuma and pretty much show my gratitude because, I mean, they've helped me out so much. they're helping me grow, I'm trying to help them grow, and you know, together hopefully we can keep this partnership going and really push on for years to come. So I appreciate you guys so very much for watching the channel. Stay tuned for more content, and without a doubt we're gonna go out there, we're gonna whack a few fish, and hopefully we whack a few big ones here soon. We're gonna be getting out to Swirl, Bartlett, Canyon. We're gonna be going absolutely everywhere where I could possibly go. Boats all ready to go, trucks all set and ready to go, and so we got no excuses to not go out to the lakes, go whack a few fish. So stay tuned, enjoy the future content, and without further ado, hope you guys get out there, hope you guys go whack them.